Welcome back to You Made That, the podcast about makers, making, and the things that we make. Featuring Mike DeLauder, Bob Blanford, and special guest host filling in for Rebecca DeGroot this week, Mr. Jason Rose. You may have heard us speak about Jason as he runs the Mid-OhioValley Pen Turners Gathering. He is the former owner, or maybe still current owner, of Jason's Pen Emporium, and also owner of the Speakeasy, what's the rest of it? Speakeasy Pen Company? Or
Speakeasy Pen Emporium and Supply Company.
Oh, so kind of a mashup.
Well, yeah, but actually my wife owns it.
Oh, so you got a boss again.
Yeah, I own nothing and I have a boss.
Yeah, don't we all?
Welcome back to the real world.
Yeah. It was a fun 3 years.
You had a good run.
Yeah.
So Jason is a friend of both Bob and I. I have known Jason now for about 5 years. We met online when I asked him about label casting, and he taught me just about everything I know for label casting. So you can blame him for that. And it was shortly after that you decided to put on the Mid-OhioValley Pen Turners Gathering. I think about a year after that.
Yeah,
and
it was roundabout.
Was it the first year? Did you go with me the first year, Bob, or the second year?
I think it was the first year. That was the initial year that Jason put it on.
Okay.
Yeah, well, it was the first year, so I'll never forget, Mike, me and you were talking on the phone, and you said, "Oh, dude, I'm coming, and I'm bringing Bob Blanford." And I'm sitting there, and I don't watch a lot of online videos, and I'm like, who the hell's Bob Blanford? And I keep hearing about it. He said, RJB Woodturner. I said, who's RJB Woodturner? And
I get that a lot.
Yeah, and then the show comes up, and everybody's just gravitating over in this one area, and it's, what's going on? And well, that's Bob Blanford, and so yeah, Bob, that's kind of how that whole thing went.
Yeah, I remember that. That always makes me uncomfortable because, I don't like to be treated differently than other people. I like to be treated just like, just somebody who shares the same hobby as you. And sometimes I get treated differently, and it makes me a little uncomfortable because I just consider myself an average guy, a mediocre turner. I just happen to turn on YouTube, which gets me in everybody's living room and on their cell phone. So sometimes people get a little, they react differently when I show up. So it makes me nervous, but.
Well, so when you told me last year you needed color photos and a table so you could sign autographs, you don't want that this year?
No, I still want that. Yes.
Oh, you still okay?
yeah. And if you could get the 4 girls from the Robert Palmer video, "Addicted to Love," to maybe open for me when I come out, that would be great too.
Have you seen pictures of them lately?
I was gonna say, if you want the same girls, I'm sure we can make that happen.
I bet they're available.
Yeah.
I bet they are.
They might be. Yeah, that's a thing that's hard to take sometimes. It's hard. I love talking to people, so it's a lot of fun being around people. But I just want to be treated like everybody else. I just want to be your friend and hang out with you, and that's cool.
Well, yeah, Mike, you've been to Mike's been to all of them, and Bob, you've been to 2 of them. But the thing is, you guys will see when I'm at the show, I'm constantly moving.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason, and it's the same reason, like with you, Bob. Once you stop moving and one person grabs you and starts talking, then there's another one and another one and another one. And if you're not careful, you'll get stuck in the same spot.
Yeah. Well, the difference is, for me, people want to talk to me. With you, they bring you their problems. Hey, this isn't working, or we need to fix this, because you're the show coordinator. So I understand why you can't hit a moving target, right? And so I understand why you want to keep moving.
Well, that's fair.
Have you had to deal with a plugged up toilet yet?
No, not yet. But thank you, because I'm sure that'll hit this time.
Challenge accepted.
That'll be my goal for this year.
Challenge accepted. I think Michael and I are going to ride up together. I think we're going to split a room, right, Mike? We're gonna. Yeah, I think we're going to split a room and save a little bit on the room and board there. And But you know what? We're talking about the show. Why don't we let Jason? Why don't you give kind of a brief description of what the Mid Ohio Valley Penn Turner Gathering is, and then kind of go into when it's going to be, and just give us a little bit of overview of it.
Well, it's really cut and dry. We're bringing together some of the biggest vendors out there. Most people that have been in turning for a while, everybody knows who these guys are. We create a space for new makers to come in. And then we've got some of the most talented people out there that are doing the demos and teaching and offering knowledge. To be quite frank, the reason I decided to do this, I attended an event in Tampa, Florida, and it was in it was at a hotel, and we were packed in like sardines. And it was like, hey, this is horribly disorganized, but it's fun. Nobody really knew what they were doing, but we had a good time, and I got the chance. That's where I met Steve Kondo and Brian Blum, Patterson, Nels and Debbie, just all the names that you would associate with these gatherings.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a while after that, I traveled to IAP's event, MPG, in Wadsworth, Ohio. And I don't know if, Mike, if you remember, or if we were friends yet at the time, but I had a real bad reaction to Illumilite. I was all swollen up and kind of looked like the Elephant Man. So I drew a big crowd. Yeah, I drew a big crowd at the event because people were trying to figure out if I was actually going to make it through the event. But I got back and I had this crazy idea. I thought, we got woodcraft right in our backyard. There's a lot of products out there that woodcraft doesn't carry. Wouldn't it be cool to bring that stuff local for local people? And that was the idea behind it. I never in a million years would have imagined it would have grown where it was. I mean, we had like 127 people the first year in Belpre, Ohio. I mean, you guys know it was really surprising. Everything went off really well the next year. I don't know, we hit like 220. And in the year number 3, we moved into this great big huge venue. And guys, we filled it up 2 years ago. People are receptive to it. I mean, the hobbyists, the guys that turn full time, I mean, they enjoy it. And even though we're all competitors on some level, we're all competition because we're all out there trying to sell. It's and we're all very passionate about what we do. Sometimes a little too passionate. We're all friends, but yeah, like I said, the show is, it started off as one of those things that probably shouldn't have worked. But it did, honestly. Yeah. I mean, and I'm sitting there thinking, hey, I get all these vendors, I get free shipping, I don't have to pay for shipping on anything.
They brought it to you. They actually literally brought it to you, didn't they?
Yeah. I mean, and that was my thing is like, well, hey, I get all these vendors. And if you guys ever talk to Nels from the Classic Nib, I mean, that in Arizona Silhouette now, I was calling him up and I was like, man, we've only got this many people and we're this far out. Do you think this is going to work? And that first collection of vendors, I mean, man, they stuck with me. They stuck it out. And the funny part was, the show was over Sunday and then Monday morning, I actually went over to the hotel to talk to guys before they were leaving. And Monday afternoon, I'm getting these phone calls from people I've never heard of before. Hey, we can't reserve our rooms for next year. So it took off and it was a great problem to have, but now like I said, we filled it up the next time and we just kept it bigger. Last year, for obvious reasons, where we weren't able to do it, we safely had something here at the house. But still, I mean, we brought 10 vendors to my backyard. We had like 60 people here, and everybody's just been chomping at the bit for this year. The problem is that we're facing this year is just we've got attendance numbers that, we can't max out on. We got to factor in our vendors. Yeah, and I don't fault any vendors for not being able to show up. I mean, there's a lot going on, right now with the sickness, and just like, we've got one gentleman, he's got elderly parents, and he's a caregiver.
Mm-hmm.
He can't risk it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Hey, quick question, Jason. When is the show happening this year? Just for the listeners, what are the dates?
Well, let me check the calendar because I want to make sure I get this right.
Okay.
All right, September 11th and 12th will be the show this year.
Okay. And one thing I want to do is, we've talked a little bit about the show, and I always describe it as it's kind of a family reunion where you actually like your family, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's just a bunch of people to get together, and it's a great time. There's a lot of people think, a pin show, so you just show up and you just talk about pins, or maybe you buy stuff. There's so much more than that. Can you tell us about some of the events that happen at the show? Things especially like we had the barrel where we dropped the pins in, and you had a chance to win the prizes. Kind of give everybody an idea. It's more than just that. I mean, that's the best part of it.
Well,
but
right.
It's more than that.
Yeah, right. I mean, I do my best to put together a bunch of door prizes. We got the pin swaps. There's always a lot of one-on-ones on a variety of different topics, be it bespoke pin making. Let's see, we got that. Tina Wisson, she's been doing polymer clay. The Cocoon guys, when they show up, they do segmenting. We usually have somebody that's watch parts. The kit in a barrel and blank in a barrel, that's actually an idea that I pulled off of the IIP and MPG. Everybody shows up. If you drop in a pin blank, you get a ticket. If 300 people drop pin blanks in, and if they draw your name, you get 300 pin blanks. Same thing for kits. That went over really well. I guess Mike Harden is going to be doing that down at MAPG in July, and that's obviously something that we'll do. Planning this year has been really difficult, like I said, just because all the way from getting vendor commitments to securing door prizes. What a lot of people don't understand is when people were told to stay at home, they had nothing to do but go out to the shop. I tried to go buy a table saw. I had to wait, 4 months to get a table saw. So there's not a lot of tools out there. They're still trying to get caught up. And now I was able to secure, I want to see Bob's facial expression, 4 blades from nowhere.
Mind blown.
Mind blown.
Not one,
right.
not 2, not 3, but 4.
4.
And that's from one company. So I'm going to have to rape, pillage, and steal to find another one just to see what 5 will do to Bob's face. If 4 will do the mind blow thing.
Spontaneously combust, yeah.
I'm waiting for the year where every participant walks home or goes home with a lathe.
Well, to be fair,
I want to stop and I want to reiterate. I want to reiterate what Jason just said for those who are listening. For the show that's coming up, there are prizes, door prizes that are given away, and part of those door prizes are literally 4 lathes. There are, and you can, Jason, I don't remember, you get tickets as part of your joining the show, right? It's part of your buying your pass to get into the show, but you also can buy additional tickets. Is that how that works?
No, so it's separated. Some of the lathes that I don't know how many. Some of them you'll have an opportunity to get just for showing up. And then there might be one lathe that's set off to the side that if you want to buy tickets, buy 1 ticket, buy 20 tickets, and that's what we try to do. I don't want people's ability to win based upon how much money they show up with. So there will be a couple things that you can pay extra to qualify for, but most it is a door prize. You walk through the door, you get the prize.
Yeah, and that people need to understand that it's not just the lathes. There are amazing gifts that are given away all day long. I won a casting kit my first year there.
Yeah,
a custom casting kit. There are tools that are given away. There are chucks that are given away. It is Jason works really hard throughout the year to work with the vendors and to get tools donated. And we're not talking garbage and trinkets that you would get at a local fair or something. We're talking nice quality turning tools and equipment, as well as a lot of the vendors are wonderful about kicking in, and you could win blanks. You could win pin pin kits. There's all types of merchandise that will be given away, and it's just a fun carnival-like atmosphere during the day when those giveaways happen.
And when I post it, and I will, it'll get close. When I'm about a month and a half out, I'll post in the Facebook groups. And it's funny because my mail carrier, they get so tired of it because they're just bringing box after box after box, just constantly, So, the bigger companies have been a real joy to work with, but other casters and turners, they want to spread the wealth. I want to say everybody leaves with something, and they do, just in the fact that the knowledge that they'll gain, but. Actually, I think that very first year, it was really close to everybody leaving with something. So,
yeah, I think it was.
So, As a matter of fact, I remember last year I had such a problem. I couldn't year before last, I couldn't give stuff away. It got to the point where toward the end of the show, if you're a vet, come up here. If you've got an orange shirt on, come up here. And that was rough. I don't know if you guys remember. I actually lost my voice last year.
I do remember.
I actually had to have somebody else come up and call numbers. So,
and I'll tell you something else about the show that really got me is it's a very personal thing. These people that go to the show, the vendors especially, are extremely giving to the point where not only did we have everything that was there as the giveaways, but we sort of that first year adopted a young lady, and I'm not going to mention her name because she is under the age of 18. Her uncle brought her, and we sort of adopted her as like we were her uncles. And the next year, Jason was able to arrange to get her a lathe and turning tools, and these are the vendors that kicked in on this. And
absolutely. Yeah, we try to adopt a kid every year, and I think all the shows do that. But no, and we want to get the kids turning.
Right.
I mean, and to be fair, you guys know this. If they're buying pin kits, they can't afford to get in a whole lot of other trouble.
Exactly.
No, that's true. Yeah, isn't that the truth? Oh my God. But and then beyond that, I enjoy talking about the show, and it's really difficult for me to explain to you the show. You honestly really need to be there. And a lot of people say, oh, well, that's a long way away. Well, Michael and I drive 6 hours to be there. We had a guy come from Puerto Rico for the first show.
Yes.
And as Jason said, there were just a little over 100 people. And a gentleman and his wife literally flew in from Puerto Rico to attend the show. So it's not too far for you to come. Now, I can understand financially, especially with the hard year we just had, but if you stop and say, hey, maybe I can't make it this year, but I can make it next year, and you put away a few bucks, as you sell a blank or you sell a pen, put that money away and save it, because you will not regret attending this or any of the turning shows.
Yeah.
This was good, though.
Very true.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and like I said, and it's great to be able to meet the people that we've done business with and talked to over however long. So. I
mean, you haven't lived until Benny Ray Watkins has given you a bear hug. That's all I got to say. I mean,
offered you a drink.
Well, once you, that wasn't Benny.
Yeah.
Once you're Benny's friend, you are Benny's friend, right? I mean, that's just the way everybody is. Everybody is just, I don't know. They just love each other, right? It's a family reunion where the family loves each other.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And the kind of guy Benny is, we were talking on the phone one night, and he was asking me how business was going. I said, man, I'm having trouble. The shop's cold. Pots aren't warming up. It was like 3 days later, the man drives up from Tennessee and installs a heater in my shop. That's the kind of guy that Benny is.
Yep.
When he's not being accosted by large farm animals, he is a super nice guy.
If nothing else, the story about the llama with Benny Ray is worth the price of admission.
It's like Christmas time.
Coming to the show.
Yeah, it's like Christmas time where you're sitting around the hearth and Grandpa's reading the night before Christmas. Everybody gathers around and Benny tells the llama story. So you got to be a part of that.
But I got to tell you guys how bad it's actually gotten. I literally did the research and looked into it. I can get a llama stuffed for $600 and put it on casters. So if I could just find a dead llama, there you go. So
oh my God.
So I've got feelers out.
Benny could probably provide one, although be slightly decayed.
Well,
Yeah. Oof.
you know, let's just be glad this all happened before he started casting. Could you imagine the hybrids that would have came out of that deal?
Oh my God. No, I can't. Hey, a question for you. At one point last year, before the show got canceled, we were talking to Zach Higgins, and he was thinking about coming to the show. Have you heard anything from Zach Higgins about whether he might attend?
I haven't reached out to Zach yet, just because I don't know if Mike told you or not. I've been doing a lot of expanding myself, and I've been kind of busy and buried up.
Okay, yeah.
I know I talked to Scott Grove. He really wanted to try to come to the show. But no, I do need to reach out to Zach. It's just, everything's running a little bit behind right now. So I hope Zach comes. But yeah, like I said, I need to touch base with him. But, and there again, I haven't opened up my sales or anything yet. And just waiting on the state to relax guidelines and things like that, because I want to make sure people know what they're getting.
Are you now when you talk about your sales coming up and preparing for your new business, are you going to have a storefront for your new business, or are you going to be strictly internet sales and shows?
Well, we're internet sales. If people want to stop over at the house, obviously, we'll let them shop. But no, I've built a bigger shop, so I'll be able to, I guess, kind of show stuff off a little bit, and I'll be teaching some classes and hopefully doing some YouTube videos, because I will have a lot more room. I have almost 4 times more space, so a lot more room to do stuff.
How much can you tell us about your new business? I know some things need to be kind of held back until things really get kicked off, but can you kind of give us a synopsis of what the business is? And
so what it was, Magic Bob with T-Shadow and Company, he reached out to me. As a matter of fact, me and him, we were on our way to the first Mad Gathering, and we were riding together, and he said, hey, he said, when I retire, he said, I would really like to see this continue on, because it started out as a hobby for him. And, I talked to my wife, and it's just the way that the cards fell, and I talked to Bob, and we went over all the numbers and everything. And, it worked out. Bob was ready to retire. So what we did was, I sold Pin Blank Emporium to my lovely wife. And then, her and Bob just kind of worked things out. And Bob's retired. But Bob will be traveling with us to shows and helping to run the table for as long as he can, just to make sure that, we get it right. We were excited to be able to keep it going and grow the company. Since we picked it up, we've added mica powders and different blanks, and I'm working with the machinist on some different tooling. I've developed a mold, a universal mold. I'm very excited about. I'm waiting to get the negatives back for the second iteration of that to get it together and start moving it forward. But no, it's been a lot of fun. And it's funny. So people ask me, they say, "Where's Speakeasy at?" And I say, "Well, part of it's in the trailer out front, part of it's in the kitchen, some of it's in the basement. There's a little bit in the shop. Blanks are in the bedroom. So it's kind of everywhere. We're trying to get it all together and." And move forward. But it's been very well received by the pin community out there. So we're really excited about it. Good. Like I said, we're growing it, and hopefully we're not growing too fast. So
now T-Shadow had its own, for lack of a better word, factory floor. Is that the space that you're going to be working out of?
No, I mean he actually had a machine. It's funny, Akron, Ohio. Okay, it is a mecca for everything. They make everything in Akron, Ohio. I had no idea the manufacturing. So all the tooling and everything is actually, there's a machine shop up there.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy that actually makes the tools, when you go in there, he's like, hey, check out these jet engine parts I'm working on for the U.S. military. And, those are fronts for torpedoes. So, so the man makes everything from torpedoes to turning tools to bushing. But yeah, so like I said, I get them as far as the tooling. I clean out the threads from where they get black oxide done to protect them. That's as far as my manufacturing capabilities go. So I do have a metal lathe, so I guess I can play around with some stuff, but no mill. So
okay. Yet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who knows where we'll at?
You just need to convince your new boss that you need a mill. It's that simple.
That's the problem. My new boss won't tell me no. I don't understand.
Not necessarily a bad problem to have.
Well, it's got to come to a head at some point. If I keep getting all these yeses, it just makes it that much harder for me to say no. So, you see.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got to tell a story about Jason's wife. Okay. I'm at the pin show, right? I'm not going to tell the bad ones, but
they're all bad.
Well, this was funny. At the time, Julie Watkins. Now she wasn't Julie Watkins at the time. She wasn't married to Benny Ray yet, but she was standing at the table. I don't know where Benny was. He was off, doing something, and Julie had her phone, and someone would walk up to the table, and Julie would type in Bob Blanford and send, and across the hall, right across the aisleway, was another table with a blanket over it or a cover over it, with stuff on top of it. And his wife was sitting under the table, and she would say, Bob Blanford. And, of course, you turn around, and there's nobody there. and I was continue to talk to Julie, and she'd say, Bob Blanford. And I'd turn around, and there's nobody there. And they were playing this game with people, and they were punking people. And she's under the table. Finally, I figured it out. She was under the table. That's one of the mild stories. There are some really fun stories.
Oh, I tell you, so Benny got my wife in trouble when we were at the bingo hall that first year. And not a lot of people do this, but they sold instant pull tickets downstairs at that bingo hall. And, of course, we went out and we bought all the concessions and everything and went to Sam's and got it. And, I keep going back and I'm just kind of checking because I see there's a lot of food that's going away, but I don't see a whole lot in the cash box. And I couldn't figure out what was going on. But I let it go. And it was probably, 6 months later. And I was talking to Benny on the phone and he said, man, I could not wait till September. We get back to that bingo hall and me and your wife can start go get more pull tickets. So what are you talking about? And then he goes into, he said, oh man, he said, we had a thing going. He said, I'd take and she'd wave at me and be like, hey, I'm going to get tickets. Do you want some tickets? And they just kept going in tandem back and forth. So,
Oh. I think am I remembering this right? That Sunday when the show ended, didn't we have to get out of there in time so they could have bingo that night?
No. What it was Friday evening. We had to rush them out of there, or we had to wait till they were gone so we could set up.
Okay.
So we're all.
I remember something.
Yeah, so we're all in there setting up, and it was interesting to say the very least. So, anyway, guys, hey, can you hold on for just a second? Somebody showed up at my door.
Sure.
Can you wait? I'm the only one here. Give me just a second, okay?
No problem.
All right, thanks.
While Jason is away, we'll talk some smack about him.
Oh my gosh! I tell you what, that first show was just so. I had the best time at that first show. I mean, I've had a good time at all of them that I've been to, but that first one was especially fun. So
You always
Mike, I've
get
been dominating
really
the conversation.
you always get really animated when we start talking about these pen shows.
I know.
It's one of the
That's how.
It's one of the few times left that I see you get really excited about pen making.
Well, when I go to one of these shows, I feel like Rebecca DeGroot. I mean, I just get all bubbly and excited, and I just want to just let it all out. I have a great time at the shows, I really do, and I have a great time talking about them. But I know I've been dominating the conversation. I'm going to try to quiet down a little bit, Michael. I'm going to let you dominate the second half of the conversation.
You have been doing just fine.
I
keep
just
right
can't help
on.
myself. Yeah, I just can't help myself. I do enjoy it, and Jason's coming back, so we'll let him get his earbuds in, and we'll get the show rolling again.
And that was how it all ended.
And I don't know if Jason ever did find his pants, but
No, I don't think he did.
Probably not.
But the photos are still running around the internet.
Awesome.
I didn't know you came back, Jason. Sorry, we were just telling a story about the show.
Well, so I'll tell you a good one. It was year one. And, of course, we all go to Sixpence. And I might have had just a little bit too much to drink. And I remember a certain co-host of yours making the comment that I was going to be late in the morning. If I remember correctly, I was early.
Yes, you were.
I think you spent the night there. I think you just. I think from Sixpence you drove back to the bingo hall and stayed in the car, right?
Well, no, but to be fair, I think I was slurring my words until about 2:00 in the afternoon. But I was there.
You were there.
Yes.
Let's just say that the show is great, but there's also an after show that kind of happens where everybody gets together for dinner, and it's a fun time.
Oh yeah,
dinners had stories are swapped. Lots of stories are swapped.
Well, in the downstairs in the parking lots of the hotel. That's where all the fun is. Everybody kicking back and, shooting the breeze, and it's great. It's that family atmosphere, the part of the family that you want to be around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's a great place. I mean, I've talked with everybody about everything. I mean, we've talked about anything you can imagine with pen turning or casting or anything along those lines, and then it gets into personal life too. I mean, I'm such good friends with so many of the people that we talk about what our kids are doing. I mean, it's just that type of a show.
Oh yeah,
and I did promise to let Mike ask some questions on the second half of the show. So sorry, I'm already jumping back in, Mike. See, I get pretty happy with
I
the show.
told you go right ahead. You're doing a great job.
Well,
I trained you well, Padawan.
The biggest downfall to the show, the worst thing that ever happened to me at the show was meeting Holly Fritz Fry. I mean, that just pretty well, that was the low point of my pen turning career.
Best thing that ever happened to me, meeting Holly, because that evening somebody came up to her and said, "Oh, Holly, I love your snowmen."
I don't know if you know this or not, Jason, but Holly has been a co-host for us several times, and we always have a little fun with her.
Okay.
Excuse me while I wipe.
So you probably detected a note of sarcasm in my comment.
A little bit.
I faked that. I'm a good actor.
Yeah.
No, we have a good time with Holly. We give her a hard way to go, but and her snowmen are fantastic.
They are. She's great to talk to. I mean, but those snowmen are awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Michael, come on, get this conversation going, buddy. I'm shutting down for a little bit.
You have just about covered everything with Jason and done it in a very timely manner. I have to add.
That's me. I'm always on track. I'm always on task. I don't veer from the course, right?
No, never. You never go off on a tangent ever.
Not when we're talking about something that means so much to me. I don't.
So let's bring it back to more usual fare for the show and talk about what we've been working on. And we can include Jason in that. He might have something interesting to add.
Certainly.
So, Bob.
Yeah.
Have you had any shop time?
Well, since the last podcast, I know in the last podcast I mentioned that I was getting ready to I just come home from a trip and I was getting ready to take another trip. So since that time, I've taken 2 trips, and I literally just drove in long enough to take a shower and get on the podcast today. So I've been traveling like crazy. So the shop time has been a bit limited, but there was something I wanted to discuss in the shop, and you know what? I just drew a blank. Darn it.
Was it round?
Pardon? No,
Square.
It wasn't. No, it wasn't. I don't remember what it was, Michael. I was thinking about it before the show. I was thinking, well, I can talk about this, and I got so excited I've drawn a blank. But what I had to say is suddenly not that important.
Okay.
So, but I have not had a lot of shop time. I have been busy with travel for work and personal. We had a lacrosse tournament this weekend I just got home from. We did fantastic. College coaches are freaking coming out of the woodwork for my daughter. So now it's down to, who's going to give the best offer so we can commit. So
what grade is she in?
She's a rising senior.
Oh, okay.
So we have to commit by, I forget when it is. They've got a date, but it's down to they're now bidding against one another, and we'll see where the bidding stops and where she goes to school next year. So
nice.
That's awesome.
Pretty excited about that. Yeah. She's quite she had one heck of a weekend, let me tell you. The best part about watching my daughter play, she when she gets in the crease and goes to shoot, she has a power shot. And the best part about it is watching the goalie flinch. Because they're not supposed to do that. And her shot scares them.
Nice.
It's wicked. So yeah, she's pretty cool. Got back from Rose-Hulman. You guys ever heard of Rose-Hulman?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Rose-Hulman Institute of Technology. My son, that's where he wants to go to college. And I took him up there for a 11-day engineering camp. He stayed on campus. They put him up in the dorms. And they give them a project, or actually they get to choose from about 20 different projects. And he chose what he wanted to do. And you go to class for 8 hours a day. And you basically work on your project, and then after hours they have a lot of activities for the kids to do on campus and around off campus, just to kind of get them used to the area. Mm-hmm. There's a little bit of a sales pitch going on there, which you kind of have because if you've ever heard about Rose-Hulman, you know that it is not an inexpensive school to go to.
No, it is not.
So now we are working on scholarships for that one, so we'll see how that goes. And then I'm leaving again this week. By the time you hear this, I will be back from another trip. We're going on a couple of more college tours. So I have been touring every college in the nation, it seems like. So, yeah.
Well,
just make sure
if you make it down toward OU, get a hold of me.
Which college? I'm sorry.
If you make it down toward Ohio University, get a hold of me.
Ohio University?
Mm-hmm.
I guess there's a possibility. I know that my other son wants to get into medical school. So we are looking at Indiana, IU, because in-state tuition and fantastic medical school. So no offense against OU, but
I got you.
Yeah, you honestly, with a medical degree, you almost can't beat IU with the tuition. It's reasonable, right? Mm-hmm. And of course, you've got to go 4 years, then you got to do your MCATs, and then you got another umpteen years. I don't know how it goes, but so we're working through all of that, man. It's a lot, but there's been a lot of business travel and a lot of personal travel.
Make sure to remind your engineering son that Purdue is the poor man's Rose-Hulman.
Well, we are actually touring Purdue in July 10th or July 24th. I forget. I have to look at the calendar. I have 2 other sons that graduated from engineering school at Purdue, so that's on his list. That's number 2 on his list. Mm-hmm. Number 1 is Rose-Hulman. And Rose-Hulman, I got to say, although I cringe at the cost to go to college there, it is the perfect school for him. Mm-hmm. Because he is in a charter school right now, and it's set up a lot like the charter school is set up a lot like Rose-Hulman, right? Okay. To where that's the way they treat the kids. So he's already had 3 years of this type of environment, minus living on campus. And when he went there, it fit him so well that it's just a perfect fit. Now Purdue, he would do well at Purdue. Purdue's a great school. I got nothing against Purdue, but
he might get lost in those 500-person lectures, though.
Well, the average class size is 13 at Rose-Hulman, right? So I'm working really hard to see what I can do to I'm going to have to start a GoFundMe to get my kid to college, I guess. But we're working really hard to see what we can do because I really want them to live out his dream. I want them to be able to go where they want to go and get the degree they want to get and become who they want to become. So
you need to get cracking on those YouTube videos. Get your your view rate up.
There you go.
We talk about that, and I kind of figured out. You guys know I've been suffering from a slump, kind of burned out in the shop. And I figured out the reason why I'm burned out is not the turning. It's not the woodworking. It's not the being in the shop. It's the YouTube videos. YouTube has just burned me out because, and I didn't really figure it out until I listened to As the Pen Turns. Have you listened to their recent episode where they talk about, and it started making so much sense that you really have to constantly be producing and constantly putting videos out to stay relevant. And I was working hard to do that, but YouTube wasn't working hard for me. So I wasn't seeing the numbers I wanted to see, and I think I just burned out. I went too many videos too hard. So I'm going to try to get back in the shop and avoid the YouTube for a while. So I'll be back, but not anytime soon. And when I come back, I'm not going to push as hard as I've pushed in the past. I think that's where I'm at. So that was way too much information and nothing to do about in the shop or wood turning. So, Michael, why don't you give us an update on your space pens and let us know what's going on?
Space pens didn't really get anywhere this week. I have been mainly having time on the weekends to get out in the shop, and this weekend was more spent in the house. Yet the chores have kind of gone by the wayside with Risha's back being broken. So I've started in the kitchen. I've got it pretty well clean. Next is the bathroom. The house looks like there's about 3 or 4 bachelors living in it right now, and I need to get that taken care of.
I know what you mean.
Every man on the face of this earth knows what I mean.
Yeah,
there's stuff growing in that shower. I know there is. But I did get some shop time, a little bit last weekend, some this week, making bespoke blanks. I've really got the abalone blanks that I'm making dialed in to the way that I like them. And I don't know if you've seen them from other makers.
I have.
But there's a lot of white with a little bit of color going through it. And I'm still using the interference colors that they're using, but I've got mine to where it's just an explosion of color. Right. So there's very little white, but there's a lot of black, a lot of gold, blue, and violet. And I've also made one that's to emulate a red abalone shell. So
nice.
It's red, violets, some purple, and a little bit of black.
And how many of those blanks are you bringing to the show? Because I heard you were going to be a vendor this year.
Well, yes, I'll be a vendor.
I know you've had a hard time keeping them in stock, so are you going to be able to be stocked up for the show?
That's the trouble. I may have to jump up and go to like the 80-pound kit just to get ahead.
Right.
I got one sitting right there. So.
Well, okay. Well, I'm going to take a little trip to Ohio tonight with some bolt cutters. And
Oh, yeah, really?
I'll say Bailey will just open the door for you.
Okay.
Our big mean dog, he'll just open the door and let you in. So.
Do you still have the goats?
No, the goats went away.
Oh, I'm crushed.
So, the goats were a lot of fun. They were. But the most unappealing thing about the goats was the fact that she only had babies on the coldest day of the year. No lie. And and the only goat pen that actually works is one that's waterproof. I mean, if water can find a way through, so can a goat. And you saw the live videos. I go live chasing and cussing at goats, and But I'm happy to say that all the goats are doing well. We rehomed them. There's one took off up a hillside, and he's having the time of his life, and the other one became more of a pet. So, and then the babies are doing well also. So no goats.
Nice.
All right, you got room for a llama then.
Well, I was going to say, a friend of mine asked me if I wanted a set of miniature llamas. I did not know these things existed. They're 3 foot tall.
No.
Could you imagine if I had a couple mini llamas here in the backyard? It would be fantastic.
You know, I'm seeing special delivery to Tennessee. You know, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking we all chip in and we just have a special delivery to Tennessee and drop those baby llamas off.
Yeah,
I know a guy.
Welcome to your personal hell, Benny.
Yeah, poor Benny.
I hope he
Now,
listens to the show.
Are the miniature llamas as mean as the full grown llamas? Do you know?
God,
Or are
I
they
hope,
more
I
tame?
hope so. I hope so.
It could be like, you know, how the smaller the dog, the bigger they think they are. Maybe that same thing works with llamas.
Yeah. Hey, you're probably right.
Although it wouldn't be able to kick them in the face, but it could still get something pretty important.
Well,
Benny's a tall guy, yeah.
yeah, that's true. So, a mountain of a man.
Yes.
So what about Jason? Jason, you got anything going on in the shop?
Man, what do I not have going on in the shop right now? Yeah, you know, we've got Speakeasy, and I'm always bringing in new product. I've brought in a lot of blanks from a lot of different makers. Some casting supplies I've brought in. I'm building a new shop, so that's important. It's an 18 by 22 story.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I'm going to be moving some equipment over this evening. My metal lathe should be here this week. We've invested in a lathe, so that's a service that, you know, doing some stuff. So, and then, like I said, most of my time when I am casting, I've been working on my new universal mold.
Nice.
You know, at the advice of Tim McKenzie, I did go out and file for a provisional patent. That was an interesting process,
I'm sure.
to say the
I
very
bet.
least. Hopefully it pans out and it works. But no, I did want to say, you guys had Joanna. Was it Myers? Is that her last name?
Yeah.
The attorney. You guys had her on here. I know, Mike, me and you had talked about her, but she was very helpful
fantastic.
with me. She actually attorney that I went to.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just, guys, really, I'm working on stuff in the shop, but I haven't been able to really work in the shop. And that's
sense.
where I'm hoping to get back to.
Have you
Sure.
released that vertical block mold yet for sale?
Yes, it is. It's available on my website. It's also available on, and this is horrible, I don't know the name. Travis Brewer actually made it, and he's got Against the Grain CNC. And yeah, I had the idea, I wondered what it would look like. Come to find out, right about the time it got released, I found out that other people had been making them. So it wasn't a new idea, but it's a neat idea. You know, pouring vertically, because it just, the colors are, it's so different than pouring in a block. You know, and the thing I like about it, the way we made it was you've got an inch where it's above your resin. So you don't have to worry about the sloshing and stuff like that. And even if you're at a level, you're still okay. You know, especially as long as you're cutting straight up and down, you're still going to get good full-length blanks out of it, you know, for the most part. So, but see, when I pour block molds, and Mike, I know you do, Bob, I don't know if you ever did block pouring or not, but normally it's 600 grams. I do 700 grams. That way, if it gets knocked out of level, you can always shave it and get your full blanks out.
Gotcha. I started into casting, but I just didn't stay with it. Yeah.
I got to tell you, the first block mold I ever cast, that thing was so lopsided.
Yeah.
Was
so,
it? Did it harden up, or did it stay like a soggy bar of soap?
No, I did not think about having to level the mold inside the pressure pot. So I've got one end that's an inch thick and the other end that's about a half-inch thick.
Yep.
So nothing was usable out of that block, and I threw away 600 grams of material.
Ooh,
Yeah,
ouch.
I can beat you on that, though. So the pot racks, it's got where the shelf will sit in and drop in.
Mm-hmm.
But if it doesn't drop in, that thing will just slide right in and out like it's supposed to. I was at Woodcraft, and this is before they carried any casting supplies. I was doing a casting demo. So, I had to take my compressor and my hot box and my pressure pot and everything I had to take. And, of course, everything's up in the front of the classroom, and everything is in everything else's way. I got a room full of people that have no idea anything about casting, but they're going to see Jason Rose do it, and that's just awesome. And I sit there, and I stir my resin, and I pour it, and I pick up my pot rack, and I catch my foot on a compressor hose. And I shot forward just far enough, and I shot back, and 600 grams of Alumilite comes out and hits me right at the waist. Now, if you want to talk, that's the hottest 600 grams of resin. I mean, and it was red, white, and blue, man. I went home and I Jess brought me new clothes, and I just looked at her and I said, "Hey, it's not July, but are you feeling patriotic?" And she was, and red, white, and blue dye, and it was.
Oh man,
yeah, it was horrible. So
you didn't end up with an allergic reaction that day, did you?
No. Well, what it is, so we're going back to before I had an air conditioner. I had a rag, just a blue rag, and when I was sweating, I would, pull one of these deals.
Wipe your forehead, right?
Well, this same rag I used to wipe up Alumilite where it had spilled.
Ah.
So I was literally wiping the Alumilite into my pores. And God, Bob, I don't know if you ever saw the picture or not, but it was horrible. It's funny now looking back at it, but yeah, it was. I don't want to say Mark James. He's pretty big in MPG and the IFE. He posts a lot. But Mark was right next to me, and he's like, "Hey, dude, here's my phone number. Call me if you think you're gonna die." I mean, it was, but yeah, it was. Wadsworth was bad, and it was in April, and it was snowing up there, and
oh my gosh.
And then the thing of it was, when I got back, of course, when I was swelling, I kind of scratched the back of my ears, or scratch whatever was swollen. I wound up getting an infection going septic, and I almost died.
Holy mackerel.
So, yes, the casting, doing the thing of which I love, came close to killing me. So, kind of like marriage.
That's dedication. That's dedication.
Yes.
Wow.
So, I wouldn't change a thing. It's been a great, 5 years?
Yeah.
Wouldn't change a thing at all. And dude, the people that you get to meet, I mean,
Oh, they're characters.
yeah, but I mean, the deal. I mean, if you need something, you pick up the phone. I mean, there's always somebody there to help you out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've always got that 1%. You're going to have bad apples everywhere, but the pin turning community, by far, the good is far outweighs the bad.
I would agree 100%.
I am so glad to be involved in the community. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad that I can give back. So,
yep.
Yeah.
And everybody needs to listen to that. Become involved with the community. This is what happens, right? I mean, you become part of the community instantly, and you won't believe how amazing the people are.
Yeah.
I cannot explain it. I try, but I cannot get the point across. It's like when people say, I take a picture of this pin, but the picture doesn't do it justice. Until you go to a show and become part of the show, and don't just stand in the corner, talk to people, because they're all going to talk right back to you. Then you start to understand what a show is all about.
Well, yeah.
And then you want to go to every one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, and that's just it. I mean, it's almost like a circuit that we run, for a couple of us. I mean, you go to every possible show that you can. And it's like a little mini family reunion, you know. It's just when you go to it's the same group of vendors for the most part, you know, and we all get together and then you got the people. There's some people that travel to all the shows, and it's awesome seeing people. You know, it's that whole family.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, guys, I think we have managed to talk about pens in this show for almost an hour, and that's awesome. The longest stretch for this show to talk about pens. That Root, she just hogs the mic and talks about walking boxes all the time or walking mushrooms.
Those walking boxes look really cool, but everybody knows I got to think about spiders. I don't like them. And while what she does truly is art, and I can appreciate it, man, it does from time to time give me the heebie-jeebies because of my. Hey, I'll just think, God, you can imagine that thing crawling up your freaking leg.
You know what? You just made her day because that's exactly the reaction she's trying to get when she makes them. You know what I mean? Isn't that the way you see it, Mike?
She got it from me. I mean, they're cool, and I can appreciate them. I don't want one on my mantle, you know, but they are cool. So,
Bob, we got to figure out a way to commission one from her and have it ready by September. So we can take it to Ohio,
dude.
The thing is, I don't think we could afford one of her commissions. So you're probably safe because what she makes truly is art, and art ain't cheap.
That's true.
To be fair, she follows me on Facebook. At some point, I've probably said or written something that she would probably just toss it in just to kind of like dig at me for, you know. But no, I'll be down at SWAT. It was really cool. Our first year.
I was going to ask that.
Yeah, we got invited to go to SWAT. We're really excited. A little bit scared, but excited.
Me too.
Same, so
I'll be there.
Oh, are you doing SWAT this year?
Yeah, I'll be at SWAT. I'm a little scared and nervous myself. I'm a regional demonstrator at SWAT, so I am a lot nervous about this. This is my first really big demo, and I've put a lot into it, and I hope that it's going to be great. I hope people walk out of there thinking, okay, that was worth the money. But I'm truly nervous, but I will be at SWAT, so I'll see you there. I'll be there all weekend, so I'm sure I'll run across you. I'm glad you're going to be. I was going to ask that, but I.
Yeah, we got invited to go, and it's great. So just so you know, I don't want your head to get real big. I'll gladly stand in the back and heckle you the whole time.
You know what? You and Rebecca can stand together because she's agreed to kind of heckle me too, I think.
Well, see, that's it right there. No, but congratulations on that. That's awesome.
Thanks.
That you get to do that.
Stand back there and try to make me look good because I got to have something to help.
I just want a video of somebody from the cheap seats screaming, "You suck, Blanford!"
Well, I just want somebody with a big beer belly to paint my name across your belly, and during the show to stand up and kind of like.
Well, for anybody that knows the story, I just want to be able to jump up after you introduce yourself and be like, "I know Bob Blanford. I know who that guy is."
You will be the only one, probably. I don't think anybody else will. But it's nerve-wracking because. I try to stay a little humble, right? I don't want accolades. I just want to be, another pin turner, right? So it's got me a little bit nervous, but I'm gonna give it 110%, and I'm hoping to walk out of there with an experience that I will never forget.
Right. Well, and Bob, you've got the personality though. As people talk to you, you get a following. But that's good. I think it'll go well, and like I said, and I'll be there. So,
yeah, I appreciate that. Maybe I should have told you.
So,
hey, who knows? Maybe you'll pick up a new stalker out of the whole deal.
Exactly.
You might.
But it's going to be fun, and I wanted to go to MAP this year, but man, I tell you what, I just can't swing 3 shows. Being a family man, 3 kids, still at home, I just couldn't swing that 3rd show. But I really wanted to do MAP this year in July.
Right. And I'm looking forward to it. Mike is, he's worked really hard. He's called me up and, we talk a couple times a week and he asks advice. And that's the cool thing that when the organizers start bouncing stuff off each other. Every show's different, but, hey, did this work for you? Or this worked for me. Maybe this will work for you. I'm happy for him. I'm excited. I'm glad to see him bringing it back. I think he'll do well. I mean, regardless, I'm going to have a good time. But
yeah, I mean,
I do. I mean, I think people are a little bit skittish, but as it gets closer, I think it will go over really well. I mean, he's got a good list of vendors. He's got some great demos. I think he'll do well with it. So,
I do too. I think it's going to be it's going to be a good show.
But
I do think this year will be a challenge, but I think next year, I think if it's going to be great.
Well, yeah, and I said it last year when we did something here at the house. I mean, you got all these people. We needed a win. It's just because nothing was going right, and that's the same thing for this year, man. You know what? I don't care what our feelings are on certain things. We all need to get together and have a win.
Exactly.
Just something go right. Give us a good weekend. I mean, well, I'm sure there's stuff that we all don't agree about, but hey, we're all still friends. Let's just get together and have a good time.
I agree.
And guys, I can't wait. So
I can't either.
I am super excited. I mean,
I just hope Mike and I are able to get tickets. It sounds like, with having to limit the number of people going, that Mike and I could have a tough time getting tickets.
Well, see, I'm a vendor, and you're helping me set up. So
good point.
Yeah,
we're in.
So you guys are covered. But yeah, that's the hard part. Like I said, we still have mandates on attendance. So, as you, Mike can, kind of he understands what happened here. If I've got 25 vendors and those 25 vendors all bring a helper and I have a 300 person total, I had to get those numbers. And I was, I had to be kind of rude at getting the point across today with other vendors. Hey, I need commitments because I want to be able to put tickets on sale. I don't want to sell 260 tickets if I've got, 50 vendor seats taken up because, 10 people are going to be really unhappy. And but at the same time, I understand it. These vendors, they don't know what's going to happen. Nobody, and it's hard to make that commitment, especially now. I mean, we don't live in the year that we lived in 2 years ago.
Right.
And that's the sad.
Hey, I got a question for you. The venue has a limit. Let's say it's 200. I don't know what it is. That may be it. A lot of people come and go. Is it 200 in the building so that if someone were to leave, someone else could come in? Or
it's 300 in the building at that particular time. But honestly, I really think that number is going to get lifted.
Good.
But the thing of it is, I don't want people to have to wait until mid-August to buy their tickets.
Exactly.
I would much rather be able to get that information out there. Hey, you first 250 or whatever, buy your tickets, get them. And then we might release more tickets later, which is what I hope. But, we're doing some stuff different. And, the only complaint I got about the last show that we had was everybody hated the food. So, so this year the admission's going to be a little bit cheaper, and we're actually bringing in food trucks. So,
nice.
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 Yeah, I figured everybody would be happy to find out that we're ditching the, box lunches or whatever they were.
The food was okay. What got me last year was every time I would try to go to the bathroom, somebody would catch me, and I had a devil of a time just taking a bathroom break. And then I finally got into the men's room, and some guy followed me in and stood behind me the whole time, talking to me, asking me questions. And I'm like, give me just a minute, buddy. Hang on, just a second. I couldn't even get a break. I couldn't get a break to go to the bathroom. It was so busy. It was an insane show. I laugh about it, but it's fun.
Well, it was funny at that first show. If you guys remember, there was a gas station back in behind that bingo hall. And I had messages coming in. And I think I had family members calling and stuff like that. And I couldn't get away. I actually ran over and hid at the gas station in the bathroom for about 20 minutes just so I could check my email, because people followed me to the gas station.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, so,
Yeah.
but no, it's a crazy bunch to run with, but God love her. You know, I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't change anything.
Hey, Jason, real quick, as we near the end of the show, one of the things we like to do is talk about how people can find us on social media, and I would really like for you to give the web addresses and the Facebook profile names for not only your businesses. I'm sorry, Jess's businesses.
Yes,
but your boss's business.
She will appreciate
but for the
that.
Mid-Ohio Valley. Yeah. Hey, I just have one question for Jess, and maybe you could ask her, is she going to wear her special shoes to the show this year?
Her special shoes.
You don't remember? She went to the Goodwill store and bought those shoes and wore them to the show?
No, I didn't know that. The only thing I knew that she bought at Goodwill was she bought this huge bag of glitter. And she hit Brian Blum with it. Did you know about that?
I did, but I wasn't there.
Oh, yeah. So she hits him with this glitter. And then he runs out to the shop and grabs like Sunrise Yellow, I think it was. And he just takes and pours some of it in his hand. And then he nonchalantly walks out there wearing his wife beater because he took his shirt off to shake the glitter out. And just goes poof right on top of her head. And the yellow just goes everywhere. You know, and then she comes out to the shop, and then I get the air hose thinking that's going to help. Spoiler alert, it did not help. It dyed the top of her head yellow, and next time you talk to her, you'll have to ask her what happened when she went to get a haircut.
Oh.
They were so convinced that she had some kind of horrible skin disorder or something. So it,
oh my God!
Yeah, it's the stuff that dreams are made of. It was absolutely perfect.
See, if you want to know about this stuff, you got to come to the show.
Oh yeah, it's great. And see, Brian's in trouble though because now I'm a reseller of his mic. So my wife has got access to. Between Brian's and P-Town Subbies, you know, and the glow powders from Divine Island, my wife has access to the finest mica powders out there. So Brian better be careful.
I think so.
Yes.
But Mike, are you ready to go through the social medias, or do you want to? Is there something else we need to do first?
No, I think we are at that point.
All right.
Okay, great.
So
great.
for the business, it's speakeasypen.com. It's the website. For Facebook, if you just search Speakeasy Pen Emporium and Supply Company, that'll get you on Facebook. For the gathering, you want to go to www.movptg.com, or you can look us up on Facebook, Mid-Ohio Valley Pen Turners Gathering. And guys, I'll be honest, the website for the gathering has not yet been updated. Because I haven't got the tickets for sale or anything, I'll do that all at once. Mm-hmm. But there is some information out there, and you can kind of check on the vendors and read the stories about them and stuff like that. So, yeah, I appreciate you guys letting me hang out. It was fun.
Yeah, it has been fun.
Glad to have you.
I've enjoyed it. I can't wait for the show.
Well, you know,
I'll go ahead and do my socials next. Oh, sorry.
No, I was going to say once Mike corrected my computer issues. So, you know.
Well, that's what I'm here for, tech support.
Yeah, he's tech support. He's podcast tech support. If you're interested in finding me on the socials, you can find me on Instagram and YouTube at RJB Woodturner, or you can find me on my vlog channel, my shop vlog channel at What You Doing Bob. And if you're interested in a little bit more about the show, hit my channel, my main YouTube channel at RJB Woodturner, and there are a couple of videos pre-show and post-show for the last couple of Mid-Ohio Valley Pen Turner gatherings that I've gone to. I talk a little bit about what's happening, and I talk a lot about what products I got. There's so much there. You won't believe the stuff that is geared toward the hobby that you love. So check out my channel and look for those videos.
And you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Lost River Pens. My website, www.lostriverpens.com, should have the bespoke pens showing up on it this week. So keep an eye out for that.
Awesome.
And that's it for social medias.
Okay.
The other tradition we have here, Jason, is dad jokes at the end of the show. So if you have a dad joke that you'd like to share with everyone, we'd appreciate it. If not, we understand.
I don't know that I got a dad joke, but my wife has this joke that she tells, and it is by far the stupidest joke in the history of jokes. But I will gladly share it with you guys.
All right.
Go right ahead.
All right, what did one snowman say to the other snowman? Do you smell carrots? Like I said, stupidest joke ever.
I gotta ask her that when I see her. I'm gonna say, "Hey, Jess,
smell carrots?"
Just ask her. Say, "Do you smell carrots?" And she'll wonder, like, God, does Bob have a tumor or something? What's going on?
I'm gonna when I see Jess, I'm gonna walk. Hey, Jess, hey, you look great. How's that skin condition?
Hey, you can't make this stuff up. It's fantastic.
No, that's the beauty of it. I got a joke here. It's a shame that Rebecca's not here today because I got a joke that's right up Rebecca's alley. Why wouldn't the T-Rex get out of bed? Because he was dino snoring.
God.
See, Jess's joke doesn't sound so bad now, does it, Jason?
It doesn't, to be fair.
Okay, well, you got one that might top that. I accidentally rubbed ketchup in my eyes the other day. I now have hindsight.
Hindsight.
Oh.
It's not 2020 though. It's 57.
Yes.
57. Yeah.
Oh, great.
Well, everybody, I think that is it for this week. I want to thank Jason for joining us and filling in for Rebecca while she's away. Let's see, she spent a week at
Arrowmont,
Gatlinburg. And now she is spending a week with her father and his family in Kentucky. So I hope she enjoys herself.
I do too. I hope she finds a nice place to live and moves to Kentucky so we can see her more often.
Okay, get her closer.
Be nice.
Yeah. We need her to move from Texas up to Kentucky. Then we can maybe get her at the MOVPT.
There you go. Now that'd be a good one.
She would fit right in.
Yeah, she would.
Her Jess, and I just lost Benny Ray's wife's name.
Julie.
Her Jess and Julie would be. Oh my God, no, we don't need them together.
Don't forget the ringleader. You got to toss Nels's wife in there, Debbie.
Oh, Debbie,
yeah.
And Holly.
You know something? Yeah. I would not have said that because Debbie, I have never seen her get tied up with those two, but she's always been the sweetest thing to me. So I will stand up for Debbie and I'll have her back anytime.
That's
she's
Debbie's
great.
secret. She doesn't get caught.
Yes, that's exactly it.
Well, yeah, she's got my respect. I love Debbie. She's wonderful.
Yeah, Deb's awesome. She is. Her and Nelson is great people. So
yeah.
All right, so that's it for this week. Everyone, thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, give us a like. Shout us out on the rooftops on Apple iTunes. Give us a 5-star review. Tell a friend. Tell a family. Tell Emily. Tell an enemy. If I can speak right here. An Emily.
Just any random Emily will do.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you know anybody named Emily, tell them too.
Yes, please do. Tell them Mike sent you. They'll know.
They'll know.
Yeah. So until next week, we will talk to you then. You guys have a great week out in the shop. And don't forget, if you're making a box, you got to have those submissions in by, the 31st?
Yep, the 31st at midnight.
Yep.
And we will take a look at them, and we'll have a show where we'll discuss them. And
that'll probably be next weekend.
I hope so. All
right. Okay. Everybody have a great week, and we will talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
See ya.